see you, man. Been a while.
Yeah, it might have been the last Narcos junket.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
It might have been. I'm surprised they let me talk to you again after that. I'm joking.
I was about to say, I don't remember it being bad.
No, I'm joking. Listen, I finished the new season yesterday. I just want to say congrats. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed that ending. That's all I have. I'll see you guys later. Have a great. Yeah. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm going to start with you. When you signed on, did you know ultimately how involved Walt was going to be in this series, or was it sort of like you were signing on for one season?
That's a great question. They had come to me for I don't have time for that. I did know that I was going to be the lead of the DEA in season 2 of Mexico, and then season 2 of Mexico, and then on the 3rd season, I wasn't sure if they were going to bring me back or not. And so, knowing that they sort of pushed Walt's storyline a little bit further down the road, and also gave him a little bit more closure, was something that I was excited about.
Luis, you did a great job this season. Totally disappeared into this role. Really went for it. When you signed on, when they approached you, did you have any idea ultimately of your arc, or was it sort of like Narcos? Yeah, just where do I sign?
Oh yeah, it was like that. I was like, Narcos, yes, I'm in. And then I had a meeting with the producers, and they met me and they offered me the role, and they saw me. And 1 hour after that, they called my agent and they were like, no, he's not, he can't play the part. He's too skinny. And I was like, what? And then they asked me to gain like 25 pounds or something. And that's it.
Yeah, when I watched the season, I'm like, this is not the guy that I recognize. This isn't, no. And then I, obviously was like, oh shit, this is the guy. He just
yeah. It was a lot of fun because I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna put all this weight for 6 months, and that's gonna be fine. And then COVID happened, and I stayed with that weight for 1.5 years. Yeah. Enjoy that, Scoot. Enjoy it.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. It took me 1 year to lose it.
Yeah. First of all, I can't imagine that, because that's also, I can't imagine that. That really has to fuck with you. I'm sure.
Yeah. It does. It's horrible. I will never do it again. But I mean, it was perfect for this role. I mean, my dad was a doctor working in the police in Mexico in the 90s. And I grew up watching him and watching his friends and the policemen. And I mean, it was the only way to play that role, like with that commitment and putting all this weight. And I'm not talking about just the physical weight, like the weight of asking himself all the time, what the hell is integrity, in a place like Juarez in the 90s. So for me, it was a fascinating experience, and I'm really grateful to be able to tell this story, which is for me the biggest issue in my country still today. Like 10 women get killed every day in Mexico right now, and that started in the 90s in Ciudad Juarez because of the rise of violence and drug trafficking in the north of the country. So it's really painful, but I think it's also very necessary to put it out there.
Yeah, both of you guys, what's interesting about both of your characters is you're both obsessed. You're both playing people obsessed. And I'm just curious, how does that, how is that as an actor to do that for months on end, to stay in that headspace? Is it easy to sort of get home from set and shut that off? Or does it sort of stay with you a little bit?
Well, I'm obsessed with everything all the time, so it's really easy to relate to that.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I have an obsessive personality as well. But in regards to like sort of sticking with it, I didn't have to stick with the belly. But when you're working in Mexico, a lot of these things that we're talking about are still very apparent and happening. So you stay in it because you're not surrounded by it, but you are when you go on location to some of the places that you kind of feel that you kind of still feel that.
For both of you guys, what have you been telling friends and family about season 3? Like, how have you been saying it to them? What do you want to tease?
It's an exciting season with one of my favorite things about the Narcos franchise is the way that they bring back in other characters that we've seen before. And they feel like they do a really fascinating job with that. And one of the exciting things about this season is to sort of see what happens when the boss or the CEO of a massive company goes under, and the fight and the struggle for who's going to be the next leader, and what the repercussions are of that, is something that will unfold and that the viewer will be able to watch. And it's exciting and very, like the show's entire history, the history of the show is very, very real and accurate.
Yeah, for me, it's been fascinating to tell my friends, like, you remember our childhood? Now you're gonna understand what really happened. You know, because we grew up with all these news about the Christine, about the Cardenal Posadas Ocampo, about Colosio, and about all these things. And of course, now we know, like what really happened. But when you see it on the show, you understand how incredibly complex this problem is, and how, in a way, we are all part of this problem. Like corruption, like living in Mexico, we are all part of that corruption. When a officer gives you a ticket and you give him money to stay away of the ticket, but at the same time in New York, if you're having cocaine or whatever, you have that blood in your hands, and like understanding that level of complexity, I think it's fascinating to watch. And I think that's one of the reasons Narcos has so many fans around the world, because it's so incredibly raw and real.
I have a different perspective on the drug war after watching all the seasons of this series. Do you guys have a different perspective on the drug war after being involved in the making of the show?
Oh yeah, 100%.
100%. I mean, I sort of after doing the show for sure, but I did a film in Mexico like 12 years ago. And it wasn't based on the drug trafficking, but just being down there and seeing the effects of it changed my perception of the drug world and the cartels 12 years ago. And doing this show only helped me to understand it even more.
I got to stop there. They're going to kick me out. I'm just going to say, for everyone who's never seen *Halt and Catch Fire*, now is the perfect time. And I fucking love that show. And seriously, thank you so much, guys, for a great season and talking to me today.
Awesome,
Thank
Stephen.
you.
Thank you so much for taking the time.